to also weigh in this bill. Mr. Speaker, from the outset, I've tried to look and understand what this bill is trying to cure. I for sure cannot understand, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if this bill was to come the way it is, for sure I won't support it. I will oppose this bill, Mr. Speaker, because if you understand very well, the Kenyan motto is Harembee. The Kenyan motto, even from the beginning, when Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was alive, was Harembee. Harembee meaning coming together, pulling together to help each other. Mr. Speaker, if we can legislate on our motto, I think we are doing over-legislation, Mr. Speaker. If we can come up with restrictions and rules against our motto, against what we believe in, then I believe we have lost it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill was supposed to have about 2 clauses and 2 clauses only, just to stop the state officers and public officers to engage in harambees, just to stop state officers and public officers from dishing out cash publicly, enticing people or pulling them towards their agenda, Mr. Speaker. But when you read, it's curtailing the belief of what we Kenyans have always believed. Harambees or fundraisers have built schools, have provided medical assistance to people who are very vulnerable, Mr. Speaker. We have helped families to come out of hardship. We have done harambees and fundraisers to buy someone a cow, to buy someone a boda, to start someone a small business. But then we are told, Mr. Speaker, for you to do that, you have to register, and when you register, you have to do that request within 14 days, or before 14 days, prior to that event, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, some of these fundraisers are emergencies, and everybody who has spoken to this has mentioned that we, the government, are supposed to make the lives of our people very easy and very, Mr. Speaker, not to make their lives harder. If you say that you need 14 days to apply to conduct a harambee, yet it's an emergency, and this emergency is caused because the Shi and Sha cards did not work, then somebody, and you know our hospitals, what they do, they say we cannot admit this person unless we have money. This person, when we get him in here, he will incur a lot of money, so we need a deposit. Mr. Speaker, very fast, if the health systems of our country were working, maybe we wouldn't be worried with this one, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kenya, we are known to be coming together. Even the government itself, through Red Cross, has invited Kenyans to come together, to contribute, to save Kenyans because of disasters. Kenya for Kenya. Now, Mr. Speaker, if we make this harambees and fundraisers very hard to achieve, Mr. Speaker, now fundraisers will be like drugs. We will now convert the good gestures of helping each other like a drug that you are helping in hiding. Yet we, the politicians, will be able to flash our money when we are helping and call upon and take pictures so that we can get votes, Mr. Speaker. But those who do not want votes, those who are just there to help each other, we are curtailing, we are stopping them, Mr. Speaker. Why? Mr. Speaker, the reason I would oppose this bill, one, is undue restriction on charitable activities, Mr. Speaker. If you read clause 14.2, it says, a person who intends to conduct a public fundraiser appeal shall submit to the Cabinet Secretary or the respective County Executive Committee member, as the case may be, an application for a permit, at least as I said, 14 days before the date of the conduct of the fundraising appeal. Mr. Speaker, someone is looking for money and we are telling them to travel, to look for a CS, to look for a county executive. And remember, every county has one headquarter. So we are telling somebody to leave from one place to another, to just go and apply, Mr. Speaker. It also says, that's why I say we are over-legislating, Mr. Speaker. We are even telling people, when you conduct your Harembee, the money that you collect, the administrative monies that you are going to use, should not exceed 5% of what you are going to collect. How do I even know how much I'm going to collect, Mr. Speaker? So if people don't turn up, and I was so prepared with 1 million shillings or 500 shillings or even 10,000 shillings, and then I receive 3,000, Mr. Speaker, that becomes a crime. So I think the most important issue here, Mr. Speaker, is not to make Kenyans feel as if we are on their throats, that whenever they try to turn to help each other, we are there, askari wakanjo, the government, they are there telling you, I saw you guys, you had a Harembee yesterday, can I have a few amounts of what you contributed yesterday, Mr. Speaker? Another issue, if you look at Clause 13, Clause 13, Mr. Speaker, it is infringing or an infringement on the freedom of association. Yes, I understand a state officer should not conduct a Harembee, but why are we stopping them from association? Can you imagine, even that state officer, because of course, not everybody is a thief, not everybody is corrupt, so probably the little money they have will not be enough to cater for some of these sudden emergencies, Mr. Speaker. Then it is your Harembee, but you cannot even contribute in your Harembee. You cannot even tell people, I'm showing you that this is the little I have come with this amount, Mr. Speaker. So sometimes, instead of infringing that freedom of association, we should come up with a way to stop the public officers, Mr. Speaker, from, but not this way, as it is stated in Clause 13. Mr. Speaker, it is also an offense for an aspiring candidate to attend a Harembee 3 years prior to the next election. Mr. Speaker, it's like we get to understand that we run, or we make a decision to run 5 years before the election, 4 years before the election. I mean, when do you make the decision to run? You can make the decision to run even tomorrow, or a few days before the end of the closure of registration, Mr. Speaker. I think this bill, as it is, Mr. Speaker, should only work on stopping the money laundering, and also stopping politicians from flashing monies for the sake of wooing the voters. But we should not stop the aspiring candidates from going for this Harembee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, we have to work on to make sure that we do not get into the privacy of people, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Karungu, just resume your seat. I want, as you conclude, to exercise the provisions of Standing Order 34.2 to extend the sittings to allow you to conclude your contribution under 5 minutes. That is pass 1 to Standing Order 34.2A.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You're the best. You're the best. I was actually about to conclude. Mr. Speaker, if you look at Section 32, Clause 32, it says that every person who conducts a fundraising appeal shall keep a record reflecting the income and expenditure relating to the appeal, including, and then it gives details there, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is an administrative burden. You're telling me that everybody who comes must write their name, must say how much they have contributed, and they must, it is even here, I don't remember which clause that says the contributor must actually declare the source of their income. Mr. Speaker, now we are scaring away the donors, we have private donors, we have people who want to help anonymously, Mr. Speaker, and then we are saying that we should write their names down. Now, who is going to keep this record? I was in Arusha the other day, Mr. Speaker, and this is, when I talk about Harembee, I was thinking only this happens in Kenya only. I was in Arusha just last week in the committee of LASSO, and as I was walking in the streets of Arusha, Mr. Speaker, a young man approached me with an exercise book that has a photo of a young guy in front of, stuck on that exercise book. And he told me, kindly help, we have lost one of our boda boda guys. I thought this was only unique to Kenya. This is an African spirit of helping one another, Mr. Speaker. Now, if we restrict it so much, we will only burden our people, oppress our people, and also make them feel as if Kenya does not belong to them, Mr. Speaker. And as I conclude, there is also disproportionate penalties. It is saying for a state officer who attends a Harembee, you'll be fined about 5 million Kenyan shillings, or 2 million, or 3 years in prison, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it will be proportional to how much you contribute. I mean, if I contribute 1,000 and you fine me 5 million, are you helping me in any way, Mr. Speaker? You should actually put it as if 2 times of what you contributed, or 3 times of what you contributed in that Harembee, Mr. Speaker. But when we over-fine or charge crimes, what happens is that the crime goes higher, Mr. Speaker, because now that is when the police officer will be bribed and all that, Mr. Speaker. So we should not create channels of corruption by trying to stop corruption and by trying to stop people from helping each other. So, Mr. Speaker, if the mover of this bill will not change as per what the members have said here today, I don't see this bill seeing the light of the day. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.